So we have a few more of the actuarial maths topics to do. Select mortality we'll do next, which is really simple. Then we've got these sort of other topics which are a bit more mathsy, a bit more calculusy, some of them especially like the healthy sick dead model, that sort of thing. But first of all we will look at the select mortality, which relates to a very simple concept that when you take out a life assurance policy there will be underwriting. So it's worth just giving a bit of background, a bit of context here. So what do we mean by underwriting? Sometimes we almost call this selling. But when you take out an insurance policy, they ask you questions to reduce their risk, basically. They don't want to sell life assurance to people who are about to die. Okay, so they ask you questions such as, have you got a terminal disease? And stuff like that. And that means the only people who are accepted for life assurance policies will be people who probably don't have a terminal disease. So if you're accepted for a life assurance policy, it generally means that you will experience a lower mortality than other people. So let's look at the table so we can understand how this works. This is the AM92 table, so it's assured lives male 1992, and you can see at age 17 we've started with an arbitrary number 10,000 and then they're calculated from there. So basically if you take a random 17-year-old, there is a 12 in 10,000 chance that they will die in the next 2 years. That's why that being 12 less than that is telling you that there is a 12 in 10,000 chance that person will die in the next 2 years. However, if this 17-year-old has just been sold a life assurance policy, you don't use that number and that number. You start here instead. And then you go here. And then you go here. Okay? So the chance of a 17-year-old picked at random dying in the next 2 years is 12 out of 10,000. The chance of a 17-year-old who's just bought a life assurance policy and has gone through the underwriting process dying in the next 2 years is 9998 basically, so is only 10 out of 9,998. Okay, we'll just write those numbers down so you can see what we're actually saying, and if you understand that, then you really understand everything you need to know about select mortality. Okay, so for average 17-year-old, we have the probability of let's do the probability of dying. The probability of dying in the next 2 years is 10,000 minus 9988.063 divided by 10,000. Okay, you can see where we got those numbers from. For a 17-year-old who's just been sold a life insurance policy, we use this number instead. Okay, the probability of them dying in 1 year, we'll use that number. Okay, so we just go diagonally across and then carry on down, because after 2 years then the mortality converges to the same thing, because if you were underwritten like 5 years ago, it probably doesn't say a lot about your mortality, because if you had a life-threatening condition 5 years ago, you probably already died or fully survived it. So what has been found over the years is that 2 years of this select mortality, as it's called, is enough to adjust for the adjustment you need to make sure you are dealing appropriately with the benefits of underwriting. So for an underwritten 17-year-old, 2Q17 is equal to 9997.809 minus 9988.063 divided by 9997.809. Okay, and obviously that affects every other calculation. It affects annuities, assurances, and all the rest of it. But you just use whatever, you just pick off whatever number you need to pick off. Okay, so that's how the LXs are effective for the rest of the table. Then we've got all these things. My guess is a lot of these things have been taken out of the red tables now. These are the orange tables. That's life expectancy. I would guess that's been taken out. It really doesn't serve a lot of purpose. We've covered all this stuff, but we've done it indirectly through all the LXs. It's just lots of combinations of LXs basically. The only one you really need, or the only ones you really need, are the AXs here, okay, the annuities and the assurances. Okay, this one is when you're looking at variance of assurances, which is a slightly more technically complicated issue, which you haven't done yet, and that's all you really need. Okay, this is an increasing annuity where you get £1 one year, £2 the next year, £3 the year after that. I don't know whether that's still in the syllabus, but nobody ever uses it, so. Okay, so that is what select mortality is, and there's nothing to it really.